Number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by Number 1 Cochran. Go one better.
Well, the Steelers weren't the only team that had struggles, to put it mildly. Pitt last night loses to a 23-point underdog. Georgia Tech comes in here. So, Chris Mack, is this the worst loss for Pat Narduzzi? He's had some doozies, but for this one, is it the
Given the level of expectations for this team this year and the way they'd started the season, it's up there in the top 2 or 3, absolutely. There's no way that you should lose that game. Now, could they still run the table and somehow win the Coastal because the Coastal is trash? Sure, it's completely possible. But, I mean, this doesn't make you feel any better if you're a Pitt fan that thought they were going to be able to withstand the losses of Pickett and Addison. This just makes you, every weekend now you're going to go into it with that same foreboding dread that I think Pitt football fans have gone into every game with for, the last 35 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I really think that last year's loss to Directional Michigan was the worst. Because if you think about what they did, they could have been a playoff team. I mean, they could have been right there in the conversation. Yep. And what does that do for your recruiting? What does that do for the offseason? It was a pretty good offseason as is, getting Keaton Slovis, although he's leaving a lot to be desired. Yep. I thought last year's loss was worse.
Another home loss, too, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it was. And I think it was the second quarter of the Steelers-Jets game today. I tweeted, this might be the worst football game I've ever seen. And about 500 people wrote back, apparently you didn't watch the Pitt game last night. No, I didn't really watch much of it. I tried. It wasn't much of a football game. I don't see a lot of talent on offense, guys, and the defense is still okay. We know there's some talent there, but college football is still about scoring points, right? More than ever.
The coordinator's a problem, too.
He may be. I hate to blame the coordinator for every team in town. I just don't see a ton of talent. Slovis has been a disappointment so far, let's be honest. They could have lost to your Mountaineers, by the way. I mean, let's be honest.
I think a healthy Nick Patty would completely change the complexion of this thing because you'd be willing and ready to go to him. If they don't have that and they've got to stick with Slovis, I've thought Patty was better than Slovis all the way back to the spring game. Then they're going to have to try and build it around Abanikanda in the run game, and they can't do that every week, like you said, Josh, in the world of college football, where you got to score 28 to win.
Well, they got problems. There's no question about it. It may not be as easy as you think against teams like Syracuse and North Carolina. We'll find out. In the meantime, you know, it's a new season here in Western Pennsylvania. It's truck and SUV buying season, and it's at its best during the #1 Cochran Ford Fall Fest with 2 Ford stores. Their selection is at peak value right now. Prices are falling fast. Get $1,500 off in stock F-150s, $500 off other Ford favorites, plus more amazing offers now during the Ford Fall Fest. #1 Cochran Ford, Allegheny Valley, Butler County. Visit Cochran.com for details or buy online. Offers end 10/31/22.